does the new second round pick exception, the one that's coming into the new CBA, does it change your opinion on what you would find most desirable in a prospect in that range?
I'm not sure if it would change my philosophy. I think it was a necessary move for the NBA. It's nicknamed, I would say, or in my head, the Palinka rule, because Palinka loved to use that his exception to get second round picks. Move them into the mid level exception, things like that. Um, it was a necessary move because bird rights and exceptions, they run the show for teams. And having one that makes second round picks so much more valuable. So I would say they are valuable because other teams would look at it and say, well, we'd rather the $2 million to help out, in free agency or things like that if we sell it, because we just, we like talent here. We just genuinely can't. They're not going to. Their agents are saying they're not going to accept a two-way. They're not going to accept the minimum. So, it's not advantageous for us to really make this pick. Now, I think it will really help them to make that pick. And then for players, yeah, I think it helps them make a bigger decision. I think that 30 to 38, 39, where they would probably get the full exception. There's around 600,000 in that in the 3-year one that could be negotiated. Now you have to really think, should I go back to school, or is that a really good contract to play on? It's almost a rookie scale contract because that first deal can be upwards of 1.1 million, and then the next two are team options at the rookie minimum for years of service, 1 and 2. So that's pretty similar to a rookie scale contract. That's what everyone's striving for, is the first round, because you get a guaranteed contract, and now you're being offered a guaranteed contract in the second round. I
Yeah.
think it's perfect for both sides, where teams are like, okay, let's take the flyer on this guy because we can. It's not going to affect our cap room in a month in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And the player is like, all right, I'm going to risk it and stay in the draft. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. I still think we should move the draft after free agency. I still think that would solve a lot of different things. But that's just me.
Mm-hmm. But in terms of the not the archetype, but I guess the early stages in the
Right.
career arc,
Right.
which
Yeah.
do you see, like, do you think this exception gives a leg up for,
Yeah, I
you
would
know,
say I'd say the first, group that you talked about. I don't
mhm,
think it really makes a difference for the Timmies, the TJD, Jalen Wilson, those kind of guys. I think,
mhm,
they have really good endorsement contracts, but they're really looking to stick. If this, if they wouldn't be there if they had garnered a lot of attention in their early years.
mhm,
So they're really, really looking for, um, just the contract and all. And I think that they would have been the people that would take the minimum or the two-way or things like that just to get on a roster.
mhm.
The guys that are 18, 19 coming on their freshman year, just testing the waters, now being talked about in this, and being able to say, all right, I have 3 years in the NBA to figure it out, and I'm getting good money, and I think in 3 years I'm going to be a totally different player. So I would say it's totally the young players. What do you think?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I think a lot of it is situational. I think a lot of it is
Right.
team by team that you need to. I don't think there's a blanket answer. If you're a win now team, then maybe you don't have the time to. You need someone who's going to be on a value
That's
contract.
true.
If somehow, some way, like Phoenix, traded Aiton, then they got into the first round, then they're going to want as much value
Right.
um, out of that first round pick, and then their second rounder will have to fall into this exception, and they can they're going to need value role players and things like that. So you want guys that have played under the bright lights, don't are going to be able to operate under a short leash and make the right play. So again, I think it can be situational, but it's not a whole lot of changing for me in terms of which like is there a significant leg up for a NCAA journeyman versus a lightning in a bottle one and done prospect?